This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming at you with another edition of the MLB Observations Hotstove edition, like week 2 for the end of the 2023 season, going into this year's 2024 season. Last week, I apologize, a long thing, but from like the time that the World Series ended to last Friday, so much happens in the world that free agency starts, managers and coaches going everywhere, so, there's a lot of stuff. So let's start with this. With Bob Melvin moving from San Diego to San Francisco back to the Bay, he's taking his associate head coach, Ryan Christensen, which is like a new term in baseball. The bench coach was always the guy's best buddy or his close confidant. So he's going over to San Francisco. Matt Williams is going over there to be the third base coach, and he was working in San Diego. Pat Burrell, who's supposedly been working with the team, he's going to be a hitting coach. While Joey Cora, who I really wanted to go to the Red Sox to be a coach for him, his brother and Alex Cora would be cool. He's going to Detroit to be the third base coach. It looks like Anthony Iapasti, whatever his name is going to take over first base coach duties because they fired Alfredo Mezaga. Mike Johns is now the new first base coach in Tampa Bay. Craig Albernaz is added to the Cleveland staff for Stephen Vogt. They supposedly played in the minor leagues together, so that makes sense. Again, friend. Ryan Goins is officially joining Eric Young Sr. and on Ron Washington's staff in Anaheim, and he just retired, but he was a pretty good fielder, so that makes sense. He's going to be the infield coach. Brian Barber is now the assistant GM in Philly, but he's also in charge of amateur scouting, while Preston Mattingly, the son of Don Mattingly, who was rumored to be a White Sox potential GM, and of course they didn't listen to any of the potential people, is now the assistant GM as well, but he's a player development. Joe Espada is being promoted from bench coach all the way up to manager, and Joe Espada is one of those guys where he literally interviewed for jobs, and he has worked his way up as a coach with Miami and New York before being on the Astros, where he was on that team that won the 2022 World Series, and then again coaching silver medal for being on the Puerto Rico staff. That he got his 2 silver medals, so it's about time. But again, he's 48. He's not old. He's not young, so it's nice that he's going to get his promotion, and they're just going from within because the Astros have this hierarchy where Jeff Luhnow and the guy after him who left, it doesn't matter who the GM is, it's the front office as a whole and the scouting department and the minor league development and the money that the Cranes have, if that's still the name of the owner, that they can just keep plugging in. Because Dusty Baker just went in for AJ Hinch, and guess what? They won a World Series. They, gone to a World Series. Like, they've been a good team under Dusty Baker. So it doesn't really matter in the end who the manager is because they got this well fine-tuned system. So hiring from within, promoting from within, good idea. The player's going to like that. He gets his well-deserved opportunity. Liam Hendricks, besides from winning AL Comeback Player of the Year, they announced he won the Heart of Gold Award from Rawlings Gold Glove. Still don't know who won the NL Comeback Player of the Year, but that's a new award that I don't know nothing about. Now, the Blue Jays won the Fall League, so congratulations to them. And Tony Watson, former Pirates left-handed reliever who's been on a lot of teams, announced that he's going to work in the Tampa Bay Rays player development department, so look out for him to be higher up in like a few years once he gets a hang of everything. DeMarlo Hale has joined the Blue Jays in an associate head coach role, even though that's what Don Mattingly's doing, so they both are going to do that. So the Red Sox Cleveland picks up DeMarlo Hale, who used to be with Cleveland, and of course they picked up Carlos Febles the other day, so they got 2 new coaches on John Schneider's staff. Pat Murphy's been promoted to Brewers manager, which again, like the Astros, they feel like the team as a whole doesn't need to go outside and hire somebody. They think that one of the most successful college managers and Craig Counsell's confidant and like mentor who was on his staff is a good fit. But that's kind of like lazily just going, you know what, we're just going to promote the guy we had. We don't really want to go out and do an extensive search because, again, they were on the impression that when you're the greatest manager of Brewers history, that you're going to want to be still the manager of Milwaukee if you've been there for so long, your family's been there. Like, they were definitely not prepared for Craig Counsell to leave, and let alone leave to a division rival, the Cubs, literally 90 minutes south of you with traffic. Like, it'd be 45 minutes without traffic. Like, that's literally, they weren't prepared, and that's what I think happened there. Bo Porter, former Major Leaguer and former Astros manager and coach who worked with the Braves recently in the front office, is joining his buddy Ron Washington in Los Angeles to be the first base coach, which is cool. Garvin Alston has been added as the bullpen coach for the Giants. And Brian Price is now the pitching coach. He's been, working with the Padres in a pitching coordinator associate role. So he's now the pitching coach. Ricky Weeks is joining the Brewers coaching staff, and they said it could be, I'm not sure if it's going to be bench coach or first base coach, but hiring a former All-Star that played for the Brewers is a good move for the Brewers for him to be on Pat Murphy's staff instead of actually being the manager without any experience. Now, Gunnar Henderson won AL Rookie of the Year. We knew that from the beginning. It was going to be between him and Josh Young. But Josh Young missed a lot of time, and I'm surprised he wasn't one of the 3 finalists. That this BB dude from Cleveland, the starting pitcher, finished second place, and Tristan Casas finished in third, which is not bad. And nationally, we all knew Corbin Carroll when he was the only rookie ever to have 20 home runs and all those stolen bases. He was going to win it. The Mets, Cody Senga, had a good rookie season for the Mets, and James Outman had just had to be the third one because there wasn't really many great choices for that thing. Bobby Crosby is now the first base coach in Oakland, and Adultree is moving to a hitting coach role, and Dan Hubbs is now the bullpen coach. So Bobby Crosby, who's managed the minor leagues and a former A's shortstop, is going to be on Mark Cotte's staff, which is a good move because, again, former player, familiarity. That's, I think, is a really good move. Brandon Hyde went AL manager, and I knew it was going to happen. I was like, no matter what the Twins do, no matter what the Mariners or the Blue Jays do, and it's not going to give it to Dusty Baker because the Astros are always front runners. The Yankees are in a way, even if they made the playoff, that it was obviously going to go to him. And then in the National League, I knew Skip Schumacher, the Marlins being this good this year, I did not see that coming. Obviously, the Braves having a great record and the Phillies making the playoffs, and the Brewers would crank out. So I would have maybe gone toward Lovallo, but again, Skip Schumacher is not a bad choice. It's probably the other choice I would have made for that. Red Sox officially hired Andrew Bailey as their pitching coach. There was a lot of rumors that he could be a pitching coach on many different teams, but he was looking to be in a bench coach because he felt like if he was a bench coach, he's closer to being a manager. He would be one of the few pitchers to become managers. Right now, Bud Black's probably one of the only ones in recent memory. So that's interesting that he's now that coach. And Abraham Turro has been traded to the A's for Chad Patrick. The A's, as I mentioned, don't have a guaranteed first baseman or third baseman or DH. Obviously, notice the first baseman, but again, they were playing in the outfield. Brent Rooker was playing outfield in DH. Seth Brown was playing first base in the outfield. So there's no guarantee, but I feel like Abraham Turro, his power is going to give him an opportunity to get enough at bat. Brant Brown has joined the Mariners coaching staff, the former Marlins coach. And then there's report that Diamond Sports has the potential of dropping both the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Guardians. That's interesting. And good news for the Brewers is the legislation has approved them in Wisconsin for renovation, so they don't got to move. And the owners also unanimously approved the A's move to Las Vegas, so that's definitely happening. And the Braves are going to host the 2025 All-Star Game. And Garrett Cole was unanimous Cy Young winner for the National League, and for the American League, there's always these years where he's prediction. I do my predictions, everyone else does. They're always he's going to be the Cy Young winner. Then he obviously doesn't win. Then, obviously, Blake Snell had a great year, and he outlasted Zach Gallen to win the Cy Young, and he's one of the only few pitchers to throw a no-hitter. For him to be the only ones who doesn't have to be the guys who win Cy Young in both leagues. It's Pedro Johnson, Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, Gaylord Perry, Roger Clemens, Roy Halladay, and Max Scherzer. So right there and then, that is impressive to be one of those guys to have done it in both leagues. And Tyson Miller's going to the Mariners on a minor league deal. Drew Carlton's going to the Padres. Tucker Davidson to the Orioles. Yohel Pozo to the A's. Royals avoid arbitration with Taylor Clark. Mark Contreras, the former Twins outfielder, is going to the Red Sox, the minor league deal. Cam Gallagher's a free agent. With BB finished second place in the Rookie of the Year, he gets a full year of extra service. Wilkin Rodriguez become a free agent. PJ Higgins, the catcher, is going to the Reds. There's a potential that Juan Ovadio is going to have Tommy John surgery, so that's not good. Or Juan Ovadio. Oliver Dunn gone to the Brewers for Hendy Mendes and Robert Moore. Dom Smith, the Nationals have DFA'd for him the first time, so they're not getting anything for him. The Braves got Penn Murphy, and by picking him up, Johnny Chirinos has been designated. Taron Verva and Tucker Davidson were DFA by the Orioles. Nationals did avoid arbitration with Tanner Rainey, the reliever, and Victor Robles. But I thought they non-tendered Victor Robles. I guess I misread that. But again, I remember it was like he's gone, but he's an injury-prone defensive-only outfielder. Cleveland DFA Quell Contrail. The Royals DFA Logan Porter and reliever Josh Stallman. I thought he would have been traded. Rays DFA Calvin Funcher and Cooper Criswell. Bly Madras, the former Astros, going to the Tigers, a minor league deal. Geoff Hartley, the former Pirates, going to the Rockies. Mariners DFA'd Mike Ford. Logan Gillespie's gone to Padres on a minor league deal. Cal Mitchell, San Diego on a minor league deal. Connor Thomas is out rigged. Ricky Vasco re-signed the LA on a minor league deal. And Wilkinson's re-signed to stay in the KBO. Tristan Gray's on a minor league deal with the Marlins. Eduardo Salazar is going to the Dodgers. Eric Chavez is moving from bench coach back to hitting coach for the Mets. Okay, he's still there under Carlos. And Yanni Hernandez on a minor league with the Brewers. Nick Anderson's gone to the Royals. They just got traded just for cash. If he's healthy, he used to be an all-star caliber closer. Cal Contra was acquired off waivers from the Rockies from Cleveland. So he's going to be a starting pitcher in Colorado. He's a good pitcher. I don't know if it's going to work out in Colorado. Yankees have traded Jake Bauer to the Brewers for Jay Savina and Brian Sanchez. Again, you got Rowdy Tellez. I don't need another slugging first baseman DH who has no business playing the outfield. Like, I just don't understand that. Ohtani's officially won the American League MVP, and Ronald Acuna won the National League. We knew about those, both of those. So that's literally not like something new or like, oh my God, we got to talk about it. No, it's obviously that we knew Ohtani, the numbers he was putting up offensively and as a pitcher, was going to give him the ability to obviously get the MVP. The question was, is he going to win both MVP and Cy Young? Like, that was the question, if that was going to happen. But of course, the injury prevented that, and Acuna had an incredible season, offensively, defensively, stolen base-wise. The Braves had a top record. Like, that's pretty much like an obvious thing that he is going to get that. And then another trade that made me happy on both sides of it was the White Sox finally traded Aaron Bummer, who was good at the beginning of his career. They gave him all this money, has been healthy. No one wanted him at the deadline, and the White Sox unloaded Kelly and Graveman and Middleton. Like, they were unloading all these pitchers, but they couldn't unload him. And they get Mike Soroka, who, again, has been healthy in a few years. Canada's one of the best starting pitchers, but he's been injured. Who maybe if the White Sox, because we need pitching with Clevenger and Giolito and Lynn all gone, and it's just going to be Cease and Kopech, and maybe, Tuki Toussaint. I think a buy low candidate on Soroka, if he's healthy, to be your fourth or fifth starter is not bad for the team that I love that's not going to be a playoff team. They get Jared Schuster. They get another young pitcher. I'm not sure, again, reliever or starter. Braden Shamaki and Riley Gowen. So they get 3 extra guys. And then the thing I like about the trade mode is we get Nicky Lopez in this trade. And I'm like really happy about that because Nicky Lopez is a really good defensive player. He's a good pinch runner. He's a very versatile player. And you're like, well, you got Romy Gonzalez on that team. Yeah, but the dude is, I would just say I'd rather have Nicky Lopez than Romy Gonzalez. More impactful. And Leon Sosa should be the opportunity every day now to play second base or shortstop or something like that because, again, we're going to need him because we don't have any starting shortstops or second baseman on this team. And quickly, Eric Castana is now the interim person controlling the Padres. That's important for what I'm going to get to after this. So I like this move because Nicky Lopez could right now be our starting shortstop or second baseman or our number one infielder off the bench. I like that. That helps us out right now. Soroka and Schuster and the other 2 guys can eat innings and all the other stuff. So I just like that. It's a win-win trade for the White Sox. You get rid of Aaron Bummer and you get 4 players plus 4 2 guys who can pitch for you now, and then Nicky Lopez, and then of course you get 2 other guys, and you get my guy Nicky Lopez, who's a Chicago native. He finally gets to be in the White Sox. That's cool for me and Dandy. And then we'll wrap here. Rest in peace to Peter Seidler. He passed away just 63. He has been the owner of the Padres. He has survived 2 bouts of non-Hodgkin lymphoma and he had type 1 diabetes. So it said in September he underwent a medical procedure which prevented him from attending any games this season. So I don't know if it's complications from there. They haven't really said this. But it's just sad to lose the owner of the team. He's the grandson of Walter O'Malley, who owned the Brooklyn Dodgers, and the team that went to, obviously, LA to become the LA Dodgers, and the nephew of Peter O'Malley, who inherited the team. And then he got a bachelor's degree at the University of Virginia and a master's of business at University of California, where he joined Delta Upsilon fraternity, and then he founded his own company, a private equity firm in California, and he invested in LA Fitness and music company Hal Leonard, acquiring major ownership that get his money, and a firm that partnered with MLB to purchase Rawling. So obviously, the firm had estimated $1.8 billion in assets under his management in 2020 and 3.5. So he had the money. So in 2012, his uncle and the Ron Fulmer, who formed the O'Malley Group together, that bought the Padres from Joe Morseys in 2012 for $800 million. They increased spending in an attempt to acquire Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, James Shield. Then they approved the transfer from Fowler directly to him, who purchased Fowler's stake to become the largest stakeholder. And obviously, again, they increased payroll in 2022. They got to the National League Championship Series, and then again this year, because they got players that were signed or traded for extensions like Bogart, Starvish, Machado, and Tatis, Soto, Hader, and Musgrove, and of course, very disappointing season. So it sucks that the last season he was the owner before he passed away. It was a very disappointing season. So rest in peace to Peter Seidler. Thanks again for listening to MLB observations of the 2023 through 2024 Hot Stove for MLB, week number 2. For On the Raid Table, I'm Raider. See you guys next time.